Okay, so back to the temple. So today's class is all about magic. Now, I have been sat pondering. I have so many notes here, so it's really going to be a master class or a mastery class of note. So, as I was saying, the Egyptian energy is all about Heka and Awan and all sorts of different like versions of what magic actually is. Even if you call magic, when you spell it Magic with a K on the end, that was coined by Aleister Crowley. So, like, it's like, and they were very much into the occult, and it can get very, very complex and it can get very, very deep, right? But what I wanted to do, and I think what my mission is to make, well, through my own life, is to actually make magic accessible to all of us, because the thing is, it's around us all the time. And we're always waiting for a Harry Potter experience. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, grab your wand, whatever. It's like, we need to like bring like magic back into the workplace, because I believe, or house place rather, I believe what's happening is where we do feel disempowered. And like I say, it's just the gospel of Marie, and I just share with you what's going on for me. I believe that we are missing so many miracles because we're looking for that Harry Potter experience. We're like, when's it going to happen for me? Meanwhile, because your awareness and your perception is not lined up to it, you don't realize that you've had so many gifts so many times that you've missed, right? So magic is all around. But the problem is when we speak about magic, what's the first thing you think about? Oh, it's a miracle. That only happens once in a lifetime. Magic is happening all the time. So I believe as wizards, as magis, as masters, as I call us, we are nailing the human experience in every single moment. So how do you think you're actually doing that? Through magic, right? So I'm really kind of like gonna what's the word, simplify it and see if we can change our perspective on our perception on what magic really is. And my wish and my intention is that when we do that, you're going to go, well, holy shit, power's just going to come like rushing back to you, because you're going to go, well, that's what she's talking about. I did that yesterday. Oh my God. And I just keep getting the message. Why are you trying to be something that you already are? That is the problem. Do you know what I mean? We're trying to reach for something we already have, right? So I believe, since we've gone through this big shift with the New Earth timeline and everything like that, it's not about learning more, being more, doing more. It's actually about expanding your inner world to match the outer world. To, like, put it this way. If you are looking through your hands like that at your desk, your vision is only going to see that much of your desk, right? And you've got like, all you can see is one pen and a pad. But if you open up your vision and you look at the whole table, you're going to realize you've got some crystals there. You're going to realize, that you've got like this over there and everything. So it's about expanding to actually be able to see what is going on around you. You know what I mean? So this is the thing. This is basically what we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to be diving into the kind of like magic and mystery and making it not so much of a mystery, right? So, like I say, I have a gazillion notes here, but I wanted to start with, hi, Debbie. Hi from Atlanta. Sorry, I must take a breath and say hello to everybody. How's it going? And how's it going to the people who are actually going to be like signing into this after, for the recording? So welcome. So we're really opening a massive portal here. We really, really are, to actually step into the New Earth timeline and really understand things in a different way. Okay. Because we are now, I've given it a timeline. If any of you watch my energy updates, I've said, this is just what I feel, that come May, I don't know why I say May, but round about there, you're going to start to be experiencing this magical life as like very embodied, and it's just things are going to become more effortless and easeful. Your channeling abilities, speaking to your guides is going to be a lot easier. You're going to be able to listen to your higher self. Everything's going to become effortless. Why? Because the illusion and the lies and the distortion that magic is a miracle or it's only meant for Harry Potter is so far away from you, you're going to realize, oh, well, shit, this is, you know what I mean? I've had it all the time. And I shared a channel with Sekhmet the other day. And Sekhmet is so multi-layered, right? When I channel her, and I most of the time, like, I can sit and channel, as you know, but I also write. Okay. So a lot of the time when I'm reading the channels to you, it comes from my channel writing. But when you go back to her channel and you read it again and again, it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So when I receive the message, I will be saying to you, okay, this is what the message is. I went back and I read it again the other day, and I read it again yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, she's meaning something completely different. Now, what I mean by this is, in one of her lines, she said, there is nothing to heal, only to reveal. Now, in the tone of my channel, as to what my question to her was, is basically, when are we going to get to it? And she said the biggest thing that you guys, starseed incarnates, like that holds you up is thinking that you're broken, right? You're not broken. What's actually happening is the layers are lifting, the illusion is lifting, and you're having the great reveal. So that's basically what's happening. But then seeing certain things that's gone on in the spiritual world, where there's some spiritual elites who've kind of like falling from grace, and there's also some elites we all know falling from grace. It's like this top layer is just crashing down. So of course, in light of that, I was reading like, when is it going to be our turn? You know, we want to step up, we want to be in service. And she said it's coming. So I read that line. You know, it's what did she say? She said, nothing to heal, only to reveal. So now it flips out there. So we just need to sit tight as conscious creators, space holders, and all that kind of thing. Abundance is coming. The flow is coming, because we've been sat here intently working on our shadow, looking at our shit. Even though it's hard, we've been doing it and doing it and doing it. What for? So you can feel happier on school run. You know what I mean? Or what for? So it's like you're not going to get tweaked out buying a bagel down the road. No, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. It's about your contribution and your energy and your frequency, which is your magic. Okay. It's basically the great reveal. All the layers and the repression are being taken off now. So now there's nothing for you to do. That's the whole point. It's just about you emanating. And that is magic, because you're made up of magic. You're made up of cells and all of these wonderful things. So it's really changing the perception that you're one of those that, oh, didn't get that. You know, you did. You are. You're a master at this magic. And of course, when we speak about magic, we have certain deities and guides and things like that that come in, which is like Merlin, the dragons, Ceridwen. Oh, we're going to get stuck into all of that. I'm not just going to keep it on the ground. Did you think? No. So we're going to get into that, you know? So, yeah, thank the cosmos. Yeah, it has been a minute. It has been a minute. So today, this is a bit left field to what I actually put together for today's group, but I've got notes for days on my desk, and I wanted to share something with you, right? That was basically it was a channel from Joseph Arimathea. Okay, I am doing so my group in Avalon, which I'm all about magic actually. Tablets of Light Avalon is happening in August. So those of you that are interested, hit me up. But anyway, that's why I was channeling Joseph Arimathea, because I was talking about the Glastonbury Abbey, and I met him as a super being in Egypt, and I've walked with him ever since. So of course I did this video, and then he just came through. I've been crying all day because my heart has just been so open, right? In this channel, he actually said words to the effect of, let me see if I can get up here, because I really would like to read the whole thing out to you, because it is very, very, very special. And it's going to make a lot of sense to what I'm sharing with you today. Okay. And then we're going to delve in a little bit deeper. So, message from Joseph. So I want you to just sit tight, relax, breathe, and just take these words from Joseph in. And I'm going to kind of go into it afterwards as to what he means. Okay. So speak to us often, for it is not the historical finds or history lessons that brings us closer to you. To spend time in communion with one another, to exchange conversation, is all that is needed. We are here. We have never left your side. We are indeed your ancestors who watch and observe your brilliance, your magic, your mastery, as you express this through your human experience. We must never forget that this was once my experience, Yeshua's, Mary's, all of us. And that's obviously the Holy Family. We are very well aware of the trials and tribulations, the heartaches and the pains that come with the human experience. This is why only those who have great wisdom, strength, and will can walk this incarnation. It is not by any means an easy undertaking, yet through the power of love, faith, and trust, one prevails all confines of pain and suffering. Never think that you are not capable of loving or being loved. You are infinitely and unconditionally loved by the mother, by the father. To think that you are devoid of this is mere lies and distortion. One must wake from their slumber. That is all. So hear my words. Receive my love, for there is an infinite flow that comes to you right now. Open your heart and being to receive this now. The divine plan. What does this mean to you? Do you feel part of it or separate from it? Inclusion and oneness is, in truth, anything else is mere shadow and distortion. Go forth today and express who you know yourself to be in any way that is free, flowing, and available to you now. Do not dismiss the smaller things. Smiling at a stranger or placing an offering and speaking a prayer at the root of an ancient oak tree. You will be astounded at just how much energy emanates from your beautiful heart in that moment. And what a difference that makes. To make a difference in the world. Isn't that the very reason why you came? With love, Joseph. So, my point is with sharing your light, something so simple. We are overreaching to the magic, to gain magic, to be magic, but it's already in us. And he kind of used me as an example. He says, you are a bit of a firecracker. And he says, when you speak to people, you get them excited to do many things. And I don't know where we're going, people, but I'm like, let's go for coffee. Let's do it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and I overlook that because I just think, like I say, I'm a squirrel on crack cocaine. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, but that's the magic, because my magic now taps you guys and you're like, yeah, let's go for coffee. And we do our little tail wag. Those are the moments. And if we overlook that, we're never going to be able to connect with our magic if we don't know who we are or we don't accept who we are. So that's a very, very, very important place to start. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. So I want to also talk a little bit more, again, lots of channels, but I'm just going to take the sentences here that make a difference. So this is what I wrote a little bit about magic. With great change comes massive expansion. Whilst that which is being removed from your space may be felt as insecurity and anxiety, deep down your innate intuition welcomes such things. For things to stay the same means that you are indeed stagnating and blocking, preventing the magic to ignite. Change ignites the magic. Magic creates transformation, miraculous and majestic transformation. This is exactly what magic is. Magic needs movement. Alchemy is a moving magic of momentum. One must be willing to expand, expose, and flow with the natural rhythms of the universe. When you are in vibrational match and a sacred dance with the universe, you are in the most potent sweet spot of potentiality. However, if one is writing their story on how they wish their outcome is to be, then you will be sabotaging any experience of magic and miracle. Magic does not thrive in such environments. And then, last paragraph, and by expanding your life, what is meant by this is to change your life and how you live it, to alter, change, and transform the human. Hue is divine, man is the physical, the human experience. One must change the habits. To change your habits, one must change their beliefs. When one changes their beliefs, your perception shifts and brand new realities transform to match your divine sight. And when that happens, all walls of protection, all barriers and armor is removed, sending a transmission of love and openness out to the universe, communicating that you are finally ready to be part of that which you always were, the I am. Right? So this is a great entry into kind of like really grounding into the magic, you know what I mean? Because if we were to skip this understanding and we're trying to throw laser beams out of our hands and like all the magic balls and everything like that, if you don't believe that you are magic, you're part of the cosmos, you're galaxy walking. Do you know what I mean? You're all of it, right? So if you don't believe that you are an extension of the universe, then it's not going to work, right? So it's about bringing the understanding of alchemy, the hermetic principles, magic, you know, Heka, all of the things down to base camp, because the thing is you're efforting too hard for something you're already doing in every single moment. So if we can get you to recognize those moments in your everyday life, then you're going to go, oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. And it's like anything. Once your awareness tunes into that, then you're going to be able to see it once your eyes shift. But right now, as a collective, we're all devoid of magic going, when's it going to happen? Lack mentality. Do you know what I mean? And that's the shift that's happening as we move into the new Earth timeline. To be fair, we couldn't have had this conversation 6 months ago or a year ago because we've evolved alongside with how the vibration of the world has expanded, right? But we've also basically expanded, you know what I mean? It's because the world is like that because of us, but we're because of that because the world's expanded. So you see there's this infinite, you know, exchange. So to be fair, we couldn't have done this any sooner. You know what I mean? But we're in the new Earth timeline now, and we are. So when we get to about May, you're going through those inner kind of like world of transformation and really going, "Oh, okay, this is actually happening." And then, as we know, there's always about 6 months when you actually shift something in your inner world, okay, and you have a big aha moment. Your inner world changes energetically. You have all the booms and clacks, but then 6 months down the line is when you start to see your physical reality changing. That's what it was like. That was the time frame in the old timeline. But now I put it up as 3 months, half the time, and probably like next year is going to be infinite, right? So this is why we're all being encouraged to just chill, be still, let your body catch up with yourself, and then like start to tap into this, like, this mastery that you got going on, this mastery of magic that has been running for lifetimes, right? So that's basically where we're at with that, okay? So so just bringing in now, like, tree magic, tree wisdom, Celtic magic. You know what I mean? It's like, incantations, invocations. It's like, do you speak the words and the phone rings with that person? That's magic. Do you know what I mean? Everything travels across the ethers. We're talking Awen, we're talking Ankh technologies. Symbols is what we activate the magic with all the time. Do you know what I mean? So symbols turn up all the time. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and it's so present in our life, but we keep looking beyond it and wondering why we're failing because, like I say, we've already got it. So with all of this chit chat about magic and everything like that, we're going to go into a little bit of a meditation now, just to kind of like bring the group together and kind of like ground into ourselves and kind of like, get into the earth. And then we're going to expand out a little bit with some other things that I'm going to share with you. And it's going to be quite a bit of information today. So I really, really ask you to stick your head to the side and open up your 5-dimensional being and just let it run through there. Because if you run it through here, ain't nothing gonna happen. Okay, so we're just gonna let it go and let it flow. So closing your eyes, okay, wherever you want to be, okay, and just making sure that you have a straight spine, make sure that your legs aren't crossed and your hands aren't crossed, and just closing our eyes and taking a nice big deep breath in through the base of the spine. Inhale, pausing at the top, and exhale. And breathing in, inhale, all the way to the crown, pause, and exhale. And then one more like that, breathing in from the root chakra all the way to the top. Inhale, holding it for a little bit longer. Hold that breath. And exhale. Just allowing your hands to be placed wherever you feel comfortable. And then starting to take your breath into the heart. Inhale and exhale. And I want you to pay special attention to the sound of your breath now. As you inhale, you may feel that you want to close off the back of the throat to bring that ujjayi breath, that ocean sound. And allow the sound. And if you don't want to take the sound, put your hands on your belly and feel your physical being fill with divine oxygen, divine breath. And as you exhale, be very aware of what the body does when you release that breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you visualize the air filling your lungs, feel what the body does. Feel the blood as it pulsates through your veins. You may feel a little heat. You may be a little cold. Even if you feel a little bit of an itch on your skin, all of this is magic. All of this is your own personal magic. And now as we breathe and we bring this breath into our being, I want you to inhale, moving out from the physical. Now exhale into your mental bodies, your emotional body, your spiritual body, otherwise known as your aura, and expand and extend that energy field out there. So you're really stepping away from your first body being your physical. Inhale and exhale. Now we really are moving into your personal magic for your energy field. And expand it beyond the room that you're in. Inhale and exhale. Have a feeling of expanding to the mountains, the sky, deep into Gaia, into the cosmos. And then all of a sudden, You kind of, as you breathe and you expand your energy field out, you start to feel the switch from you being a thing to being part of it all. One consciousness, the all mind, the I am. And as you expand out very consciously, can you feel that you feel like somebody's taken a lid off you? Can you feel that maybe those problems or things aren't so heavy on your shoulders? When you expand out and you say to yourself, I am aware. Awareness is intuition. Intuition is magic. To expand your energy field to wherever you want beyond the multiverse, the universe. And feeling just this wonderful feeling of openness. And yet feeling your deep connection to Gaia, connected through your heart to hers. She's always, as I call it, holding onto your string, to your helium balloon, being very, very anchored on Earth, very, very connected to her heart. Your two are bonded, but you're expanded to the multiverse and back. As above, so below. So within, so without. And as we expand into this beautiful energy, swirling of codes, star magic, earth magic, middle world magic, mountain magic, we now call in our beings, our guides, our family. And now I'm calling in Master Merlin. Merlin, O Master of Hours, he who teaches us the secrets, the mysteries of what it is to conjure, to awaken, to invocate. We also receive the guidance from Merlin how to take responsibility of this big magic, supernatural powers, which is very much a divine balance of our physical selves. So Master Merlin never really says an awful lot, but he is very powerful in his presence, and he will show up to each and every one of us in his own way, because he's also a shapeshifter. So allowing Master Merlin to take his place. And now I call in Ceridwen. Ceridwen, Ceridwen, wise and kind, bring us abundance and magic to our minds, because it all comes from the mental body. And in walks Ceridwen, who is a beautiful Welsh Celtic goddess, but she's so much more than that. Does she appear as the crone? Or does she come to you in her goddess energy? Or is she shapeshifted into something completely different? But she comes with a beautiful big cauldron full of magic, full of promise, full of inspiration. And she walks around us now, merging her energy with Merlin. And calling in the Heka gods, Seer, god of perception, Hugh, god of breathing the idea into being, and Heka, the magic and medicine, the activating force, the true essence of magic. He who comes before any gods. Heka, Heka, Heka. And any other beings that we like to bring into the space now, the dragons, the salamanders, the fieries, the fairies, the priestesses of Avalon, feel free to call them into your being, for this is a beautiful party of magic and mastery. And we're calling for our space to be protected now, much like being in the center of the cauldron, we are protected by Awaken, creating a beautiful vessel now for us to work and play and just be. And now just asking for anything that is not needed. Anything from the day, the night, if you've just woken up, anything that's not needed to just be gently moved out of the space, transmuted into the stars. Nice clean space. And now when you are ready, you may open your eyes. Okay, so now we are joined by all of our families, as it were. So now I'm now stepping into it a little bit deeply now. So now, as always, when I do these classes, I don't just want it to be just me talking and you listening. I want you to be able to put this that I share with you to practice. So next time you come on the temple, you know, you're constantly adding on, building, building, building. So it's now I'm going to share with you what I am going to suggest for you to work with. And now it's time for you to put that into practice. Because remember, no magic is created unless one is prepared to change and action it, right? So, what I want you to do is I want you to choose something. So, I've put here setting an intention for the group. Okay. When I say for the group, it is as a collective, because you know the more we work in a collective, the more powerful it is. So I don't mean attention for the group, I mean attention for you within the group, if that makes sense. So what do you want to bring into physical form? Maybe it's an idea you're sitting on, or maybe you don't have an idea. And maybe it's inspiration you seek. Maybe you've got lots of ideas, but you're like, you know what? I want something new. Do you know what I mean? Inspire me. Give me something different. Give me the next layer to my tablet of light or my blueprint. So if we've got a blank canvas, wonderful and amazing. If you have a specific something you want to work on where you might want to just, I don't know, you might want to get into spell casting a little bit more. I know when I worked with Ceridwen, I have an altar down here, which is just Egypt. Okay. And it's Sekhmet and it's fire and it's actually Hathor and Isis and Anubis, and it's all of that. Now, I created a second altar upstairs, which is my Avalon one, in dedication to Awan and Ceridwen only, right? When I sit up there and I work, I've got all my notepads up there. The energy and the creativity that comes through is just fresh and clean. Different to when I'm sitting with Sekhmet. Sekhmet's more of a kind, if you build two altars, which we're going to get into in a little bit, it's quite interesting. In the beginning, when I built two altars, I thought this could be overwhelming because I don't get to sit in both of them in a day. I have to just be a bit calm with myself because I'm ever such a one for organizing. That needed to go out the window. So on some days I sit upstairs, some days I sit downstairs. But let me tell you, I noticed the difference in that inspirational power and magic and force when I had another altar to compare it to. Because otherwise you don't even know, well, if you're just sat at your altar every day, how do you know the difference in the frequencies to do with one, to do with maybe, I don't know, you might be more into kind of like the Vikings or whatever. So have like a Norse altar. Do you know what I mean? But making sure the best thing for me is set an altar up for Merlin, set an altar up for the dragons, but specifically Awen, because Awen brings the knowledge, inspiration into creativity, and we're going to get into that in a bit as well. So having two altars can actually serve you very well for you to notice and feel the difference in pure magic and then the difference in Egypt magic, for example. They're very different. So it's good for you to feel that. So going back to your intention, like, you know, do you want a fresh new idea or do you have something to work on? So just take a moment and just straight off the bat, don't overthink it. Put something in your mind or put something on your journal, okay? Because this is what you're going to be working with what I'm going to share with you today, you know? Because unless it's been put into action, then how are you going to know? Do you know what I mean? How are you going to know? Starting fires here. Okay, hang on, I'm just setting my carpet on fire. Okay, I know we're doing alchemy, but burning my carpet was not part of the deal. Oh my God. It's all going a bit chaotic this end, so don't worry. Chaos is creation. Hey, if I go up in flames, is anybody going to save me? Having priestess problems. Whew. Okay. All right. Now moving on. So we have an anchor. And do you know what? If you sat there going, oh my God, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just roll with this. You can come back to the recording and then you can write your intention down later. But if you have something, wonderful and amazing, right? So that's your seed. That's your seed that you're putting into your cauldron. All right. That's the idea. All right. And let me tell you, how it's going to look is completely different to how it's going to be seen, because that's the beauty of magic, right? So now, let us start to alchemically decode what magic really is so we can bring it more embodied, right? Now, I have a very good teacher called Christopher Hughes, who is a Celtic teacher, and he is actually a druid. He's Welsh. And he does some amazing books. So I've taken some of his teachings from here, which kind of like dovetails into mine. So I wanted to share with you what the actual meaning by his definition of what magic actually is. Magic can be defined as the energetic undercurrent of the universe that is accessible from the edges of the human psyche as a force that is used to cause or create change. Let me say that again. Magic can be defined as the energetic undercurrent of the universe that is accessible from the edges of the human psyche as a force that is used to cause or create change, right? Natural forces are inherent within everything that exists in our universe, and that includes you. Okay, what you do, what you think, what you say, what you feel affects the world around you. Now I go back to Joseph Arimathea. Let's not think small here. Prayer at the tree, heart breath out there, massive energy, massive magic, right? So we need to bring it back to base camp. Okay, so that is what he says the definition of magic is actually defined as, right? Now also as well, when you are doing your prayers or you're casting any kind of like spells or, and incantation invocations, at the point of where energy meets is when it's going to be the most powerful. And what I mean by that is if you are in ceremony and the sun is just going down and it's getting into dusk and you're just going into nighttime, very powerful time to meditate. As it is if you're crossing over from nighttime into 6 a.m. Okay. So, and we know the witching hour is like 4 o'clock or whatever in the morning, but like these points, I want you to be super aware. That's your first job this month. I want you to be super aware of those things where you're like, oh, I could create magic there. Oh, I could create magic there. Even walking to the end of a forest walk where there is a bridge that crosses over a river. If you sat and did meditation there, that would be exponentially powerful. So where one thing meets another thing and it crosses over, okay? So for me, in ceremony, it's usually like the daytime. Of course, you can do that at 12 noon. It would still have the same effect, but not as powerful. When I was at the Chalice Well in Avalon, I remember standing in the garden by the Chalice Well, the actual well itself, and I was there on a solitary mission, like a solitary pilgrimage. And I was very, very, very upset. And I was there to clean a lot of stuff. And I stood in that garden barefoot in the rain, absolutely freezing my kahunas off, soaking. And I let the sun go down on me. And then that sounds like a song. Don't let the sun. No, we want to let the sun go down on you. Okay. We want that. Do you know what I mean? So the sun went down. And I went into this darkness and then I went into the nighttime. And I absolutely was like, because there's so much supernatural activity there. I was like, oh my God, I knew I was safe, but I was freaking out a little bit. But the power and the potency. And then for the first time ever, in that moment of the crossing over of the day to night, I got this. I can channel and I have all those things, but smelling spirit, when some people can have smells, cigarette smoke or whatever, I don't get that. I got that. I had full on anointing oil. And then all of a sudden the mothers came round me and then I just cried. And I've never felt anything like that. And I do believe that was charged from allowing myself to stand in a very, very powerful place at sunset to nighttime. So try it out because this is all accessible to you. You know what I mean? I know you can't go to Avalon tomorrow or Egypt or whatever, but you can go into your garden or somewhere in the woods or whatever. Try it where you're going to be doing a kind of like a prayer or something like that. The only way that you're going to experience your magic is by actually getting practical with it. Okay. Because remember, magic is something you make. I even have a picture on my wall that says that magic is something you make. It's practical. It's alchemy. Okay. So now, magic is also a person's influence or ability to create something unique. So that's more about your personal magic. So think about this, a person's influence or ability, gifts, to create something unique. Your gifts are unique. So, I mean, how many of you have basically written a channel? How many of you have had an idea or whatever, created something? That's everybody. Do you know what I mean? But that is personal magic, right? So again, don't have to be Harry Potter. This is fine. So the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. Now, this is Aleister Crowley quote, the science and art, the science. You see, we all are alchemists here. It's the same thing. You're doing it all the time. When we go into a meditation with Marie and we go into the Great Pyramid and we're channeling, stepping into the sarcophagus and we feel a rush of energy come off, you're doing it in every single meditation. You are doing exactly what Aleister Crowley is saying. The science, alchemy, That's changes in your body energy. And art, it's a craft of causing change to occur in conformity with will. So you have to, and I'm going to get into this now, how we really unpack this and get into the bare bones of magic, because we don't just sit there and go with that izzy wizzy, let's get busy like we used to with kids and go kaboom, bang. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then there's cards falling out of our sleeves and everybody knows we cheated. We're not doing that. Do you know what I mean? It's just like real magic, right? Real magic. Okay, so now I'm going to take you, this is where it's going to get quite an intense class now, because I'm going to take you into something and then we're going to do a very powerful journey meditation with this. Okay. Now, I'm not sure whether anybody's ever heard of, I can never say his name properly, Eliphas Levi. Okay. Now he created the four powers of the Sphinx. Now, those that come to Egypt with me, I don't think anybody's here, but maybe somebody's watching. I've created a beautiful journal, and in there I have his 4 points, right? Which is very similar to my alchemy formula that I use. Well, it's everybody uses it. Intention plus action equals creation. So now I'm going to go through this. And again, keep your awareness and your 5D consciousness open rather than trying to take it through the head. But this is going, Marie loves templates to land into. This is going to change your whole approach to how you work with magic. So the first point is to know. To know. Okay, so this isn't air. So to know is air. This is the element of air. Okay, it's basically to know your craft, right? So it's self-awareness, know your craft. Knowledge is the foundation for conscious manifestation. Now let's break that down. So if you know how to channel, or if you know how to do healing work, or you're badass at book writing, or you're just flipping good at flower arranging, your craft is your craft. You might be really good at house decorating or making curtains of people. Don't get it twisted that we've got to go and build a 4-stage ashram here. No, it's about being creative in your highest timeline. And as long as it's bringing you maximum amount of joy, that's alchemy and that's magic. And that's what you've come here for, right? So self-awareness, know your craft. Knowledge is the foundation for conscious manifestation. So if you know what you're doing and you know who you are, then that backs up with Heka, intention plus action equals creation. The first god is seer, okay? So if you can see like the vision and you have a clear idea of who you are and what you got going on, then this is to know. Now, I kind of feel that this is probably something will go on till the day that our bones turn to dust. But like that's a big macro cycle, but a micro cycle, it's like, for example, I'll use me for an example. To know my craft, I can't go and take people to Egypt and Avalon and do all these things if I don't know what I'm doing or if I don't know what I'm good at. Because, if somebody tweaks out, I know how to take care of shit. Do you know what I mean? If I sit there and you're freaking out in front of me or in the Great Pyramid and you're going, and I'm going, do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like not good, is it? Do you know what I mean? So
Yep. Yeah.
I've made sure that you basically have to, I know my craft. In about 5 minutes time, I'm going on to DJ school. Vanessa knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to DJ school at the end of the month. And I'm going to come on and go, don't know my craft at all. But you see, I've entered into a new stage, a new process of getting to know my new craft, right? So I'm not going to go out and bang out a DJ set on week 1 because it's going to be shocking. Everybody will laugh. I'll probably be on social media for the wrong reasons. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's like I got to get up to my Tiesto standards. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I'm doing. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? I'm going to go through this phase now because I need to get to know that craft. And when I'm good at it, then I might go and play publicly or put something out there because I know my craft, right? So that's your first stage. So to know. The second one is to will. Now, this is fire because will comes from where? Your solar plexus. Will and your solar plexus is segment. Okay, so it's basically about focused intention, inner drive to manifest and discipline. So here you are. Let's just use my example for your example. So you've decided, right, I'm going to put a group together and I'm going to go to the Himalayas and this is what I'm going to do because I'm really good at this stuff. I've been doing it at home. Now I need to know my craft. So you know your craft. You're adept in that. You know what your medicine is. You know what you're bringing to humanity and the people that are going to come and work with you. It's done. Right. Confident. Matching with the sacred sites. Got it. Right. But to know is not enough now. Now, this is where kind of like the fire comes in, the fire in the belly, okay? So you've got to have focused attention, inner drive to manifest, and you've got to be disciplined. You can't just give it one hit with a stick and then walk away and go, yeah. When I create my tours and everything like that, it's a whole year. Some of you know because I've had a good old whinge about it all the time, but it's a lot of legwork. And I can't just give up halfway. I've got to be disciplined. I've got to be on top of everything and I've got to keep it going so I can actually get to the end game, which is kind of what's happened. So it's the same with you. That will is going to take a little bit more effort than just to know, right? But it's the fire element that's going to bring creation codes, right? Remember, fire is alchemy. So the will comes from the solar plexus, and that's like, whew, right, let's get this done, you know? So willpower directs energy with intentions. So it's going to, so that intention you just set, okay? It's going to be the fire of to will, okay? It's going to be that section that's going to basically fire up your intention in a big way. That is when you're really going to be anchoring into it. So I suppose in a way, like, you know, just having the intention, just the idea, that's the easy part. This is where it gets a little bit more like, okay, got to do this. So to know, to will. Now, this one is probably where we all get stuck, to dare. So now you've got your craft, you know exactly what you're doing. You're like, yeah, I got that idea. Yeah, I'm doing this. This is all great. And now it's like the will, it's like the inner drive. I'm getting my business together. I'm getting clients in or whatever it might be. I'm doing my DJ set, whatever. Now, to dare, this is the water element. And I think probably we need water here more than anything because it just needs a lot of like heart energy and be unconditional love. But to dare is the courage to act despite fear, stepping beyond your societal norms and your limitations to engage in magical practices. Because daring brings evolution. Remember, I'm always saying, without risk, there's no magic. So you've got the idea. That's one form of magic. Very comforting, though, because you're still sat on your sofa at home. Then to will, okay, you're putting systems in place. Still could probably do it from home. Nothing too uncomfortable here. Then to dare means, holy shit, does that really mean I've got to fly to that spiritual site and actually do it now? It's like, yeah, like sleep in places I'm not comfortable with. Have people maybe shout at me because they're in a meltdown. Yeah, all of the things. Do you know what I mean? This is like to dare. So you're going to be completely in your uncomfortable zone. Now, the full activation of magic only happens when you place yourself out of the circle, right? So this is the thing. We all want to have magic, but without basically being uncomfortable. It can't be done. That's a spiritual, hemorrhoids. That's a yes and no at the same time. Ain't nothing going to happen except a sore butt. You know what I mean? So now that's where you're really going to activate it. So you've got to like forward motion. Now your final one to this, point 4, okay, to keep silent. Now this one is the earth element, right? So keep quiet on your spiritual and personal experiences. Not because you're just being a dick and you're just like, I'm not telling you, because that's ego, right? To keep silent. Like imagine if you had this amazing idea and it's come straight from spirit. You're so flipping excited about it. And you're like, oh, I'm going to tell Jilly and Margaret at lunch all about my idea. It's amazing. And you're flying high. And then Jilly's just like, are you sure that's safe? I don't know about that, girl. I wouldn't do it. All of a sudden, you've got your cauldron mix. They're now putting in their fears. And you're like, actually, maybe she's right. Or maybe I should just do it a little bit less than the original idea, or not at all. Then before you know it, basically what's happened is you've kind of like had somebody else's energy drop into that. So that's one of the reasons why you need to keep silent. But also my favorite saying, sacred is secret, or secret is sacred, right? So keeping it, just contain the energy. This is your baby. Think about it like this. You've just popped out a brand new baby. Hello, Michael. Not you, because you're a man. Hello. But like maybe you had a spiritual baby. You don't even know what I'm talking about. He's like, what? Don't worry. We'll get you up to speed. Welcome. So like imagine having a newborn baby. You're not going to rush out to take that newborn baby out to see people straight away because they've just been born, right? They could get sick. You don't want like big cars around and everything like that. There's going to be kind of like an incubation phase of just keeping it just right. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the protective phase of that. So silence also as well is about listening to the intuition. Inner silence allows wisdom to take... I can never read my own writing because I'm always so excited when take root. Okay. Inner silence allows wisdom to take root. And I quote Merlin here. I remember last year, I was channeling Merlin and he said lots of things, but he's very cheeky and harsh. And he said to me, when you get these ideas, he said, hold your tongue, okay, until you've embodied it, basically. Hold your tongue. Because what was happening is I was getting these big downloads and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. and I was sharing it with everybody. And what happened is number one, I wasn't receiving, okay, which was the gift for me. It needed to be embodied. So it didn't come all the way through here before I shared it with everybody else. It came to here, which meant it only went through my mental body. So it made sense to my mental body, but my spirit didn't squeeze the juice out of it, right? It didn't get integrated. And I was constantly giving it out. Giving it out. Do you know what I mean? So there's another reason why we need to make sacred secret, and just kind of like sit on it and allow your cauldron mix just to take form. It's like anything when we're cooking. Not that I'm a good cook at all. This is probably the worst example. But anyway, I believe, so I've been told apparently, when you mix things in the kitchen, it's like, and you've got to take a while to get like some elbow grease into it and you get a good consistency and all the rest of it. You've got to take time. Got to take time, but you quickly mix it, chuck the cake mix in the oven. It's not good. So take time for it to marinate, to move and show itself to you, because there may be other ideas. So the silent part is almost like, that's why it's earth. It's the grounding factor to just really bringing it in. And also as well, receiving your own download fully. Okay. So to know, air, to will, fire, to dare, water, and to keep silent, earth. Okay. Now, what's quite interesting is with this particular run of a template, you will know where it falls off the perch for you when it comes to your magic endeavors, right? Because I know for a fact, where do you think Marie suffers like the most on that one? Silence, perhaps? Yes, there's that. Okay. But you can actually look where it goes a little bit wrong. And you're like, okay, I need to hone into that. So that's going to help you ever such a lot, like a map and compass. And also what happened today was when I was talking to Joseph Arimathea and we were having a conversation, I cried and I cried and I cried. And I said like, oh my God, where have you been? He said, you need to be still enough. We went nowhere. You just got to you got to still it right down and you got to just listen, because we're always there, but you're too busy being busy. Even in your meditations, you're only going on the top layer. And it's like, this is a you problem, girl, not us. And it's like, as I sat there and I listened to him and I really went into it, gosh, we had such a long conversation about so many things. And he was just like, like that's all that needs to happen. It's really quite simple. So also keeping really, really, really still and just enjoy the process. Receive the whole gift. Okay. So that is your 4 powers of the Sphinx. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a bit of a journey meditation with this, with your idea. And I mean, like, just go with it. Do you know what I mean? We're going to take you through those stages. And we're going to bring Ceridwen into this as well, because, she's the one with the big cauldron. And I just think when it comes to magic and mixing and creating, we have Merlin, we have Ceridwen. And Ceridwen, for those of you that don't know, is actually, she's the keeper of Awaken. And we're going to get into Awaken in a short while to actually understand what that's all about. So basically, Ceridwen, she's absolutely incredible when you want to actually just go into a simple journey and look into her cauldron. She will show you exactly what's going on. You look in there or journey in there. The cauldron is such a powerful vessel because it's as old and as ancient as the chalice. Okay, like the Holy Grail. It's as old as that. Okay, and Awaken she is the keeper of Awaken. So when we want to be inspirational, we want to bring things through, the best thing you can do is just literally either get yourself a cauldron as well. I throw cinnamon sticks in there, gold coins, whatever it might be, and it just goes in my cauldron mix. I had bay leaves the other day and I wrote all over them. Bay leaves just are also very good for abundance and things like that. And, just have fun. Listen, if you're kind of sat here going, God, what's she saying? Chat GPT, best thing ever. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm being a bit lazy and now I could channel it, but Chat GPT, I'm keeping it real. Go on there and just put spells for whoever you want, and you will have so much fun, because remember, magic is created from fun. Okay, so this is what we're going to go into now. So bringing in, and because they haven't gone anywhere, magic of Merlin, the dragons, Ceridwen, all of that kind of like power and like the frequency cake mix, as it were. We're going to go into your process because you've got an intention now. Okay, so I'm going to take you through this process in a meditation. Just let yourself go where you need to go. It may be that you just need to embody these 4 points. It may be that you might go on a full-on aha moment. Let it flow. Let it flow and let it go. Okay, so now closing your eyes. And once again, taking a nice big deep breath in. Inhale. And exhale. And breathing in. And just give a big sigh. And the dragons are very strong right now. They've made it very, very clear that they're just swirling around us. So many of them, lots of different colors. There's a deep purple one. There's like a dark midnight blue one. You may have your own personal dragon, but the energy of the dragons is very much here. And the dragons are our biggest spiritual teachers and guardians and protectors. And they have been with us for so many lifetimes. And they're flying around us now in a circular manner, as if they are kind of like conjuring up, like stirring up the energy and the frequency. So allow them to just swirl around you and feel the energy ignite in the heart. Feel the energy ignite in your being, especially in the solar plexus, and ladies in your wombs as well. And as the dragons swirl around you now, you are now walking in some very, very, very ancient land. And as you're walking, you're barefoot. And as you look down at your feet, there is the most beautiful, softest moss beneath your feet. You look to your left and to your right, just surrounded by stunning countryside. It feels very old England to me. And as you walk, you look up at the sky, and it is indeed nighttime. And the sky is this beautiful midnight blue. And it has the stars are just twinkling so bright. And in this setting, you are connected. There is no blocks or loss of memory. You know the cosmos knows you. Even the moss that carries your body weight walking you forward has a consciousness. The trees speak to you, and as the wind slowly blows through the trees, there is a hustle and a vibration and a humming as she speaks to you and whistles to you. And also you're feeling that wind because your dragons are kind of like walking with you and flying with you. It is not unusual for you to have these majestic beings with you. And as you're slowly walking now, you're walking towards a beautiful, big cave. And when I say beautiful, it's because the actual entrance of it, even though it's a cave, has got like vines and flowers. It even looks like somebody has purposely, strategically grown them like that because it's just beautiful. It's like a portal created by flowers, but it is indeed a cave. And it's a massive cave because as your dragons land, they can walk in there with you, of which you do. And as you walk into this dark cave, it's illuminated immediately because it's your frequency is just like the stars, the aquas, the blues. You just magic yourself, you're vibrating. And as you walk deep into the cave, this is indeed the womb. This is divine feminine. This is where all creation occurs. And as you walk into this cave, it opens up bigger and bigger and bigger. And as you look at the walls, there is inscriptions, ancient texts, wall paintings, all sorts of things. But there is a fire going on in the middle of this cave. And it is a flickering and showing all sorts of different shapes. And your dragons, they just slowly they lie down next to you. And as you walk to this fire, you just cross your legs and sit on the floor and you warm yourself. And you close your eyes and you just feel this beautiful comfort of just feeling at peace. And then as you sit there, you become very well aware that there is a presence that has just joined. And you slowly look down at the floor, kind of apprehensive to raise your eyes. But as you do, you have been greeted by the most beautiful, beautiful goddess. She has this beautiful long blonde hair tied in a plait that just goes all the way down to her waist. She has these beautiful robes, and she is slowly leaning over the fire because this wasn't there before, this massive cauldron. And as she looks at you, she smiles, her eyes gleaming. There's even like flames in her eyes that you look at, and is dancing around like magic. And she speaks, "Dear one, I am so glad the dragons brought you here today. I am Ceridwen, keeper of Awan, and we are here to create magic. For you are magic. This is who you be. Now you're a little confused because usually when you connect with Ceridwen, she shows herself as the crone, but she's like this beautiful personification of the goddess. And she says that she reflects back to you who you truly are, and she says, I am your beauty. But then when you look up, all of a sudden she's a crone. And then when you look up, she's something else. And she says, you're a shapeshifter too. You have the power and the magic to shift from one being to another. Why do you think that you are such a powerful creator here on Gaia? Because shapeshifting means that you may throw your hand at many different tasks. Shapeshifting means that you can create and become whoever you wish to be. But inside your essence is divine. You are the goddess. You are the god. You are a beautiful balance of the masculine and feminine. And you are connected to all that there is. But here you sit in human form. You have signed up to be here on Gaia, to play with the magic and show others how to do the same. And all of a sudden, this scene becomes quite like fun. It's not the heavy work that you're used to doing. And she's still stirring the cauldron, and she asks you to step up now. She says, take the spoon, this beautiful golden spoon. She says, stir it. And as you hold on to this spoon now, there's a lot of energy and magic. The colors change, the frequencies start to change. And you can feel as you stir this cauldron that it's almost like the galaxies and the stars that you see within it starts to swirl out of the cauldron and all around the cave. And suddenly the cave becomes like a cosmos. And she's laughing and she's saying, you see? This is how you play with magic. You can create whatever it is that you want with intention. And then she starts to break it down. She says, you really do know who you are. Otherwise, one would not stir the cauldron in such a way. One would not be sat here playing with her dragons, and certainly not sat here with me. So know yourself to be a divine, powerful, majestic creator. That is your birthright. And you are part of all of that magic. So to know is to have power. And to have power is purpose. And when one has purpose, you have alchemy, because it's the purpose that brings on the change. Because you're constantly able to shapeshift. So one feeds into the other. So as you stir the cauldron now, you look into it and you can see the reflection of you, but you get flashes of past lives, good ones. So many times you've been a magician, a magi, a seer, all of the things. And here she looks at you now and she says, what do you choose to be in this lifetime, in this moment? Answer the question now. It may not even be to do with a big spiritual mission. It could be that you just want to be an artist. In this moment, you want to be able to ride a tricycle. Who knows? But you have so many gifts and superpowers and abilities. Know yourself. To know yourself is to know God. And now she speaks about will. She takes the spoon from you and she starts to furiously stir this cauldron. Now the cosmos changes and it becomes a little bit dark and heavy. And as she's stirring this cauldron, she says, my darling, I have tapped into your energy field now. Your will needs work, meaning your focused intention, your inner drive. Do not fear. Do not sit on the side and make fear-based decisions. Do not try and create from lack. This is illusion. And this is why my spoon is very heavy now as I try to mix this mixture in the cauldron. And you actually see that there is little flames flickering out, but not quite enough. And she starts to just stir and stir. And then she starts to bring in an incantation. She starts to speak a language you've never heard before, but she's spell casting. And what she is spell casting is the release of any sludginess in your solar plexus, and you cannot believe what she is is doing is creating sparks and explosions in your solar plexus. There is so much energy going on, but it's blowing the blocks, anything that sits in the way of your power and will. And as she stirs, all of a sudden, this sticky, sludgy, almost like a volcano mix starts to explode into light fire. Now, all of a sudden, the whole cave is just full of fire, and you are just dancing with these flames, as is your solar plexus. And there's a sudden lightness and freedom, willpower, strength, tenacity. Okay, now all of a sudden, there's a million more ideas that are streaming from your consciousness. And she's laughing because she can see the playfulness that comes from your being, that indeed you were never supposed to come with one idea. You are so multifaceted. She says, I see it. Do you see it now? And you're dancing around the cave like, yes, that's a massive sacred yes. And now she starts to speak and the energy shifts once more. And now we move into another arena. And as we look into the cauldron, as the fire starts to die down, there is almost like a darkness and a solemnness that comes now, because the next stage, she speaks and she looks at you and she says, now, this is the stage. Do you will to dare? It is now your courage to be able to dare, to step beyond your fear, to go beyond other people's opinions, limitations, go out and create and be unapologetically you, no matter what people say. Judgments, that is, let them. That is their decision, nothing to do with you. If you are not fitting into society, she says, this it means you are doing it correctly. No one wants to fit in, dear heart. You came here to fit out, create a new movement in a new direction where others will be there. There will be more like you. So will takes you in to dare. And then she looks you deep in your eyes. And the cauldron is still dark and solemn, and she's slowly stirring her spoon. And she says, do you dare to step forward with your magic and be seen in the world? Zero fear-based decisions. And before she even finishes, you grab the spoon, because yes, you do dare to step forward, because you have sat in the shadows for too long, suffering and in pain. And now you realize that to dare is your golden key to unlocking it all. And you start to stir the pot. You start to stir the cauldron. And as this does, though, it actually explodes every single chakra in your being like a beautiful firework, down from your Earth Star chakra, your base chakra. Feel your sacral chakra explode, ignite, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown, all the way up, stellar gateway, all of them, boof. And you are now just stirring that cauldron, because you know, as long as that golden spoon is going, it is igniting, it is clearing all the fear, all the ancestral lines, all of the negative belief systems that you were told, whatever you picked up from anyone, anything, it's not your truth. And you say it out loud now over the cauldron, because she is a magical vessel on her own. I dispel any negative belief systems that keep me imprisoned, locked up, hiding, repressed. I am here to shine my magic, to share my magic. I've always had my magic. I have just repressed it. This is the moment that I say, I dare to step out, and I am fearless in my decision. And as you do that, suddenly the cauldron explodes with like fireworks and light, because it's dancing to your consciousness. Remember, the cauldron is like the grail. It is the consciousness of the divine feminine. It's almost like she's celebrating you, like, yes, yes, yes. And you just keep stirring, because you can feel that in your chakras as well. All of these beautiful colors in the cauldron are all of your beautiful colors of the chakra, which be you. So keep stirring and celebrating, because now you are through the biggest block that we have all been faced with. It is now non-existent as you step into the arena to dare. And now, suddenly, there is just... Ceridwen then takes the spoon from you. And she slowly touches your hand. She touches your heart. She touches your third eye. And she places her hand on your cheek. And she has a tear rolling down her cheek. And she nods. For it is a mother's love when she sees her child become. For it is a child that listens, but when they expand into being grown, spiritually mature, you make decisions from this place. You claim your power from this place. There is no need to step out and be anything that anybody wants you to be, because you're so in tune with yourself. And she continues to stir the cauldron. And the cauldron now is this beautiful, fluid, light blue energy, soothing, soothing, soothing. And it's going through all these beautiful lilacs and pastel colors, very soothing for the system. And you find yourself just sitting back as Ceridwen slowly stirs the cauldron. For this is your energy. This is how you feel. And you get lulled into the most still, quiet, and grounded space. You do not feel the need to communicate. You do not feel the need to think. There is an undeniable feeling of safety, security, harmony, and deep, deep peace. This is what it feels like to truly manifest. This is magic. When you can allow yourself to go into the deep silence, you have released that energy into the ethers. And that is when you are working harmoniously with the universe. And you sit there and you feel your being vibrate. And this ancient one of you is really stepping forward now, the one that knows your higher self. You feel that expansion into this physical being. You can feel your dragons stirring around you because they can feel the shift. But it's peaceful. And the most prominent feeling here is safety. If you feel safe, then you can create worlds. And you do. So allowing now all of this energy, all of the processes that you've gone through, you now become the cauldron. That's what just clicked in for you. I've become the cauldron. You are the vessel. You are the one that holds all that magic in your being. And you create from within your world. And then you release it into your outer world. And then you sit back. And you sit. And you just be. Until you receive the replenishment into your cauldron once more. And then Ceridwen just nods. Smiling. For you have finally understood the way of the Magick. Taking a nice big deep breath into your being. You look to your dragons left and right. You feel quite sleepy like them now. But Ceridwen gently places her fingers on her lips and blows you a kiss. And with that, she disappears into the darkness of the cave. And you feel now it's time to leave. Your dragons, they get up to their feet and you slowly leave the cave. And as you walk out of this cave, you're considerably different to who you were when you walked in. And as you walk out, it's sunrise. And there is a beautiful sunrise. You look at the sky and you're like, is there any more beauty and magic that I could feel? And then you realize that you were actually doing all of that on the crossover of the most potent time for magic, where the nighttime ceased to live. And then dawn burst and began. And here you are walking out the cave, walking out the womb, reborn, brand new. You take a big deep breath with your hands on your heart. Your dragons lean into you, kind of like nestle into you, put their wings around you, and then suddenly they take flight off into the distance. And you just, big smile on your face. Nothing else to say and nothing else to do. So now Taking a nice deep breath into the place where you sit now. Inhale and exhale. And just letting it all come back into the room, into your being. If you need to anchor a little bit more, get some magnets in your feet or get your roots into the earth. Have a bit of a stretch. Jumping jacks. Okay. Well, that was a journey. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit on Awan. Little bit. Because I'm going to show you a picture while you're all coming to. I'm going to share my screen. She says, hang on a second. Let's get that up first. Okay. Because I need you to see what it is that I'm sharing with you. Okay, so can everybody see that? Yeah? Okay, so that is Awan. Okay, so this here, all the way around the outside, is representative of the cauldron. And Ceridwen is a keeper of this. We have 1, 2, 3 drops, 3 rays, 1, 2, 3. Now, I've mentioned this before. If you want to, like Awan, it's knowledge, wisdom, inspiration. It's also, I mean, there's so many different versions: mind, body, spirit, masculine, feminine, harmony, earth, sky, and sea. You know, there's just death, rebirth, resurrection, whatever it is. But this is the specific symbol for Ceridwen. Now, I'm not going to go into it too much, but her story is that she had a very, very ugly son. She had other children, and this is the Celtic story. And she had other children, but this son of hers was very, very ugly, and she worried for him getting along in life. You know, so she basically created a cauldron mix, and she called an old man in and a young boy from the village, and she basically had to get this potion going for a year and a day. This is magic, this is alchemy, right? And in this potion, okay, this is very much about, you know, giving this potion to her son, and it's going to make him gorgeous and lovely. And, you know, that's what it was for. So anyway, she gave the job for the old man to keep the fires going, okay, because she had to rest. She was doing this for a year and a day. So they took shifts. So he just had to keep the fire going under the cauldron to make the mix work, okay? And then the boy was supposed to just keep stirring. He couldn't stop stirring, keep stirring. Well, she fell asleep. And what happened, there's many different versions of the story, but 3 drops fell on his hand. So he did that and he licked it. And then the cauldron spilled over all over the house. And it was just the 3 drops that came from that mix that was the only thing that was needed. But it wasn't her son that got it. It was this boy. This boy turned into be Taliesin, who's one of the most famous poets from the Celtic tradition. And he's a bard and everything like that. But just to give you some pointers, because it's a very, very deep, extensive story. But now there's very, very many points of wisdom in this, okay? When you are creating magic, right, you got to make sure that you're vigilant over your cauldron, okay? You got to make sure that your fires are not too hot and not too cool, right? You got to make sure who's around your cauldron. Like I make cacao, sacred cacao for ceremonies. Never have anybody in the kitchen. You know what I mean? So you got to be vigilant about your whole creative process of magic, right? So she learned a very, very hard lesson there. But yeah, so anyway, I was going to go into another part of the story, but it's quite deep and extensive. But I think this is all we need to know for now. So this is Awan. So when you want to meditate with Awan, you can do this. So here you are, there. Okay? There's one ray, okay? Sometimes I do that in the sun and I let it come down. Now you can flip it. So those of you that work with the Ankh technology, you can flip it. So the Ankh is like we go from that to that, but you can do the same with the Awan. Okay, so when you are, say you printed that symbol out and put it on your altar, I do it all the time, turn it around. Okay, so turn it up. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're receiving. You're receiving inspiration, right? So you can do that in a multitude of ways. You can imagine that. You can lie on a symbol on the floor, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, so basically, like you can still like channel Awen like that. But for inspiration, turn it around, do it that way. and play with the symbols. Symbols is essential to ignite magic. Now, a lot of us know about the ankh. We worked with it last time, where that is a masculine, locking it in. When I want us to receive, that is the way that the ankh goes. And then when you've received all the codes that you need, lock it in, and then it's in your system, right? So using symbols, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of us work with the macabre and everything like that. Try to get away from textbook. Let your consciousness and your own ancient one show you how you can work with the ankh. I didn't get that from a textbook. I just sat with it one day and was like, oh, well, if we can do that and it's feminine, what about if we put it in our chakras? Let me try that out. And I did it and then it blew my socks off. Nobody told me how to do that. I just played with it. And that's the whole ignition of magic, is playing, experimenting. Why do you think we say about these mad professors chucking stuff in the cauldron? Food is magic. I'm a shit cook, and I needed, basically, that's why one time I went to Ceridwen. She actually said in one of the journals, I was deep in medicine and journey with her, and she was like, yeah, and this and that and the other, and she's like, and she didn't even look at me, she just said, this is why you're a terrible cook, Marie. I was like, oh, that's rude, but it's true. And she said, but you need to look at that because it's a block of your magic. So instead of me just looking like I can't cook for shit, I didn't look at as to why I really don't want to be in the kitchen, because it's like, I actually can cook. So what's going on there emotionally with me? It's a block of magic. Why do I not want to put my love language into food? Right. And I know that I have a big problem with nourishing myself. So if I can't nourish myself, how can I nourish others with my magic in that way? I can nourish here, no problem. No problem whatsoever. But I need to look at that everyday block. So where are you blocked in things like that? Because alchemy is all around you. When you go in the shower, that's alchemy. You were dirty, you came out clean, right? You know what I mean? You make a meal, it's like, it was nothing, then it was something, right? So all of these things. So I'm really encouraging you to look at the everyday stuff. And if you're not sure, just go into council with Ceridwen and go and sit around the cauldron with her. And a great way to get insight is when she shows you the cauldron, peer in, have a look. It's like the Akashic records. She'll show you something, or one word will come up or something like that. So it's a really, really powerful way to talk to her and get her to show you, But what I'm going to just end this with is I cannot encourage enough. And I know I banged on about it before. Having an altar is a game changer. Okay. I didn't have an altar for years. In fact, I didn't think that it was important. Right. And now I have one, okay? And it's like I am on it all the time. In fact, that's what I was doing today, changing altars. Yes, it's a pain in the ass. Yes, I don't want to clear it, but in a way, that's the will. Okay, so let's talk about that. Where in me building my altar today, to know, absolutely, I know what the altar is, what I'm going to put it up for, its intention. To will was basically the discipline. I was like, oh God, just like cleaning. But that's the discipline. To be in service, it does take discipline. Instead of going, oh, you know what? I've just burnt a whole lot of stuff at the altar. I can't be asked to go and chuck it at my tree. Be asked. That's your job. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have to be, because if you're going to put sloppy magic out there, you're going to get sloppy results, right? So that's the long and short of it. So when you make your altar, it is the portal to the divine. And when I worked with Ceridwen, and I mean, I encourage you to go with maybe a magic deity like Ceridwen or Merlin or something like that, because that's unadulterated magic. It's like, poof. Now, I didn't know too much about the moon cycles, but let me tell you, I got so honed in. She brought, and it didn't come through me sat there vibrating going, oh, I'm getting a channel. It was the in-betweens, meaning I go out and somebody said, here, do you want to read this book of magic? And I was like, why, what's in it? And they're like, moon cycles. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, that's where the magic finds you. You get the energetic idea when you're at the altar, but it's the bits in between as to where you get given a book, or you end up talking to somebody about something or whatever. That's how magic finds you. So just to round this off, I think our mission now to our next call is to really be vigilant on your awareness on how magic turns up with you every day. And even write in your journals now, because I love giving homework, one of your things daily, if you can write, maybe at the end of the day, I want you to list 3 things that happened to you that was magic. And I want you to do it every day. I do it every day. And it's things like my husband coming in and putting a cup of coffee on the table from the coffee house. I was like, I should have really wanted that. It's things like me going and going, wow, look at that sunset. That's actually quite beautiful. Or things just like happening where you're like, oh, I needed that parking space. If that's where you need to start to get the gist of it, those things will become bigger and bigger and bigger. But you have to start at home. You have to start at home to acknowledge all of that magic around. And Vanessa, I know you're yawning because there's so much energy I'm speaking about. I'm just looking at you. Oh. I love it. I absolutely love it because I'm a yawner as well. So let's like bring this more base camp and then we work back out, right? Because the thing is, it's like we're all alchemists. We don't have to try to, to be anything that we're not. You know what I mean? We already are it. So how's everybody feeling in themselves, as we say in England? It was a lot of information today. But is it good? Yeah. Is it kind of like landed? Okay. Right. Because, any of you can pop me a message like, or whatever on YouTube, and then just on that, before I sign off on this class, because I do kind of feel that like, next temple one might actually be about more magic because I would like to develop this. And also I'm thinking of an idea and you guys can pop it on, I'll put a post on YouTube. But I was actually thinking what could be really, really cool because I like to keep my space super interactive because we're all in it together and I want to be able to I want to be as helpful as I can possibly be rather than just me churning out videos and stuff like that. How about if anybody's got a question that they want an answer to, or just my thoughts on something like that, what about hitting me with some questions if you have any? And then on the live stream, I'll just go for the list. And I'll just basically talk about it. You know what I mean? Or I might put it into the temple or something like that. But I wanted to make it like more interactive because I've got some Atlantis stuff coming because people have been asking me about my take on Atlantis and things like that. But it could be, remember, we're co-creating together. So if there's anything that you want to know about, please feel free to just pop me a message. And it just inspires me to get more creative with my stuff. You know what I mean? And we just keep the wheel turning, So with that, so there are just important dates and things like that, just to remind you that once you have this link, you don't have to go back into the email again, right? It's done. Second of all, we've got the temple, and then I have a brand new offering, okay? And you guys can email me if you want. I'm so glad, Miss April. I am now releasing, you're hearing it first, the Sekhmet sessions. Woo! So now the Sekhmet sessions are purely channel for the goddess. And as you know, she is my biggest channel. And I'm now opening up sessions, which are 2 hours, $222, which is just the same as the Heka Code sessions. Now, the Heka Codes is more to do with you creating to help you get into alchemical flow. Sekhmet is a direct telephone line to the goddess. So if you want that kind of session, which she will basically tell you exactly this, that, and the other, or you want to deepen your connection with her and you want to get some kind of ritual going, which is like, the process that I've been with her and everything like that, those sessions are going to be 150% Sekhmet. So if any of you want to deepen your connection with her, and I'm going to probably advertise it like in future, but right now you've heard it here. Those are my other offerings. And then of course we have Avalon, which is actually a ladies group, but I am going to be doing another group prior to that. And then of course Egypt as well. I mean, it's just happening. But my main thing here is the temple groups, because the more you pitch up, the more you're going to see changes in your life. And what we really want to get away from in the future is Marie doesn't need to talk and you just listen. We're all moving together. Okay. And I want you to just, I suppose I'm talking about value and worth. It's about us knowing that this year, we're going to know exactly who we are. This year, we're going to be on a level. No more going to gurus and basically, listening to false prophets and kind of like waiting for people to tell us what we're feeling inside. Why? You can do it yourself. So this is why I've like deep dived into the magic. I believe that all these spiritual elites are crashing, okay? Not for new starseeds to take their place and their throne. So the dynamic is the same. No, it's crashing full stop. So we now step into the crowd and we move together because why should that dynamic be? So it's now time, really now time to do this together. And that's what Joseph Arimathea was saying. It's about co-creating. He said to me, look at the Glastonbury Abbey. He says, do you think I made this on my own with these bare hands? And he says, we had a team. You know what I mean? And it's the same with the pyramids. That is how we get shit done now. Okay. So no more lumming on your own. It's about being together. And the only way we can be together is if you recognize yourself as that teacher you're listening to. Hey, it's all good. Like me talking and all the rest of it. I'll impart knowledge and wisdom, but maybe one day you're going to like just get up here and do the same. We're all in it together is what I'm saying. So know thy worth. Get your magic popping, get your altars up, shooting your laser beams out your hands, and a big chest bump from me. Okay. So can I get an amen for that, please? Because I'm really hot. Woo! Yeah, do the clicky thing. Yeehaw! 2025 does no one. There you go. Vanessa's got like all like celebration things. Amen. Absolutely. Amen. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for showing up at the temple. Thank you so much for those guys that are tuning in for the recording. And we will see you on the next ride. Okay. Peace out, guys. Loads of love. Mwah. Have a great day or a great night. Bye-bye.